This episode of Headlock Talk is brought to you by
Austin-based company Naturally Hemp's and their new line of CBD gummies. Let me just tell you, this is not your grandma's CBD. These gummies are made with 100% baked-in, pharmaceutical-grade, non-isolate-based CBD. What we're talking about here is the entourage effect. The entourage effect refers to the stronger effect you get when combining multiple cannabinoids together, as opposed to just CBD. Full-spectrum CBD, or CBD distillate, tends to be more potent and lasts longer, which is what we're talking about here. Unlike some other brands that use a spray-on CBD, Naturally Hemp CBD distillate is baked in, so you know you're getting the full dose with each gummy. I personally use them for all kinds of things, like sleep aid or muscle pain. And did I mention they taste great? They got 5 flavors, strawberry, green apple, lemon lime, watermelon, and get this, the orange flavor has vitamin C in it. Ooh. So if this sounds like something you could go for, head over to your nearest Create a Sig vape shop and pick yours up today to see for yourself the difference Naturally Hemp's gummies can make in your life.
So I saw this photo of Nia Jax on the top rope at the Performance Center. Yeah, it was kind of scary, man. I really hope there was nobody down there. Not saying she doesn't know what she's doing.
I'm saying she doesn't know what she's doing.
No, you don't think so? Oh,
you think she does?
The glare that I just received from Steven here.
You think Nia Jax knows what she's doing?
I mean, look, I've never seen her on the top rope. I don't know. I mean, look, she's got the track record where she hurts people, and I just,
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Maybe it was just like a photo shoot thing, like where she's like, I'm on the top rope.
What?
I'm just saying, it's possible.
I mean, it's possible, I guess. I don't understand. Anyways.
Well, we're about to make the impossible possible here, guys. We are back with another episode of Headlock Talk, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! I'm, of course, Tanner. To my left, the one and only Steven.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Steven. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, taking something from J-Raw's book. I just got off work.
Yeah?
I did.
Nice. How was work?
It was okay.
It was okay?
It was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to talk about it later, we can talk about it.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right. To my right here, the man of the hour, the man with the power, our friend Chase.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on,
What's going on, Chase?
Not much. Just like Steven, I just came off work.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
Nice. How was work for you?
Yeah, it was alright.
Sweet. Well, Chase, tell us a little bit about yourselves, because we've talked about you quite a bit on the podcast. And you've been watching a little bit of wrestling with us. Is this like your first time watching wrestling? Like, did you watch it when you were younger? What's
yeah, I actually watched it when I was younger. Well, not like actively watched it. It's just I had a couple friends that watched it, so I just kind of jumped on their bandwagon, just like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
right on, man. Right on.
But I played a lot of the games when I was younger, so like that was more influential than the actual viewing of the show.
Right on.
Cool, man.
You ever played SmackDown vs. Raw?
Yeah.
That's a good
Those
game.
are so good.
Man, I had a character that was like really tall and skinny, and he had like a giant yellow afro, and I called him Afro Thunder.
Nice.
Oh, nice. What was his finisher?
Oh, dude, I couldn't tell you.
No?
I can't remember.
It's a pretty good name though.
Afro Thunder.
Loved it.
The last time I was playing wrestling, I made a super intimidating Slenderman.
Slenderman,
yeah.
With the tentacles?
No, they wouldn't let me do the tentacles.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, but he was like 7'4" and like 400 something pounds.
Jeez.
And, oh my god.
Yeah, he was nuts.
Yeah.
Called him Buffer Man.
Right. 2K, if you're listening, you need to add a tentacle enhancement to your create a character mode.
Absolutely.
That'd be
great.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine what an F5 would look like if
with tentacles.
With tentacles.
A million times better.
That'd be pretty great.
It would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be a Headlock Talk if we didn't have something to talk about, and we have a lot to talk about today, particularly the Fastlane show that was this past Sunday.
Yes, indeed.
So, gentlemen, y'all were over at my place. What did y'all think of the show overall?
Well,
It's a good way to start.
So I know we talked about this on the last episode, how Fastlane seemed to have, even though the storylines didn't really make that much sense, the matches themselves looked to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they weren't. However, I will say Fastlane was not as good as I thought it would be. There were just some strange
just some strange tomfoolery going on in some matches.
I agree. I feel like the match layout, actually how you build the card, was a little bit confusing. Yeah. I personally would have done a little bit different, but of course, I'm playing armchair quarterback here with saying that. So, I mean, I'll get into it a little bit as we go along here. Chase, what thoughts did you have on the show? So I know you felt really awful about what happened to Kofi Kingston.
Oh yeah, that was messed up, man.
Yeah.
I feel for Kofi.
Oh yeah.
That was horrible because he went into that match thinking that he was gonna fight.
Yeah. For the title, Yeah. And then the bar comes out.
Yeah, and that's just a cheap move.
It was. Mr. McMahon's at it again, unfortunately.
It's got Vince written all over it, unfortunately. Yeah. And now there's this whole thing with the gauntlet match.
Yep.
We'll get into it, but
we're definitely gonna get into it. The pre-show kicked off with the New Day members Big E and Xavier Woods defeating Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev in a pretty decent enough match. It ran about 13 minutes.
This match was boring.
Yeah?
This match was real boring. And which, that's strange. When you look at the guys that are in the ring, there was no reason for this match to be boring.
Yeah.
But for me, it was. There wasn't very many big spots. I don't know. It was just strange to me.
It was really passive.
Yeah.
That's a good word for it, for sure.
I would agree with you on that, Chase. Yeah, I mean, I felt as though it was decent enough for the work that was put into it, but, I mean, when you think about it, what was originally scheduled as the pre-show match, I think of the time that we recorded, I think it was literally the day of us recording it, or maybe the day after, they announced that they were going to do this match here, the New Day, and against Nakamura and Rusev, but they had already advertised Rey Mysterio versus Andrade,
right? And
then they scrapped that plan during the pre-show.
Yeah.
So we got this match. It filled the time that it was supposed to, I guess. But like I said, during the pre-show, they did a segment where Samoa Joe interrupts Carmella and Lana backstage, and Carmella and Lana were arguing about who deserves the next shot. And Samoa Joe says, "Hey, well, let's give all of everybody a shot here, including Rey Mysterio." So they proposed that fatal 4-way match for the main card instead. Of course, after the New Day wins, they won with the Midnight Hour on. I don't remember who they pinned. I think it may have been Nakamura. I can't remember exactly.
I'm actually not sure.
But that's how memorable the match was, to be honest.
Right. No, 100%.
But after they went backstage, there was a segment where it was the New Day and Kofi, and one of the backstage hands said, "Hey, Kofi, you need to go see Mr. McMahon. There's plans for the title match tonight."
Right.
And so the crowd got hyped for that.
Oh yeah,
very, very much so. That bled into the main part of the show here, where we have first match of the night: the Usos versus the Miz and Shane, with Mr. Miz at ringside. He bought his ticket, apparently.
He didn't buy that ticket.
I mean, I'm only assuming, Steven. Only assuming that he was a paying customer there.
Nah, he didn't pay for
anything.
Okay, fine. No, there's no way.
Well, anyway, Mr.
You think he's gonna pay for a ticket knowing that his son is gonna get beat up?
Hey,
by a friend?
Pretty badly.
I mean, look, I don't think he knew. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. I'm just salty over the ending of this match.
What was cool though? I mean, you had Mr. Miz at ringside with a Miz-O-Mac or Shane-O-Mac jersey, and Shane and Miz come out with their jerseys on, and underneath Miz's jersey, he has a Cleveland shirt.
Yeah, it was Cleveland is awesome.
Cleveland is awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. So he was repping the hometown of Cleveland while there. I think this was a decent enough match. Again, it ran about 14 minutes, so about what they ran last time around.
No, I mean, I personally really liked the match itself.
Yeah.
There were some really nice spots, like that mid-air collision between I think it was Jimmy Uso and Shane McMahon. That was really cool.
It was the best game of chicken that I've ever seen. Yeah, because Shane gets
and
up,
they both lost.
Well, Shane gets up to do the coast to coast, and then is intercepted. I think, like you said, by Jimmy.
Yeah,
Jimmy's getting up on the other side of the turnbuckle. And Jimmy's going to go for a splash, and then Shane's like, no, and Shane's balancing on the top rope while waving his arms around. Mm-hmm. And so Jimmy goes to jump, and then Shane also goes Shane goes to jump, and he intercepts him, kicking him right in the crotch.
Yeah, square in the testicles.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who are like, he hit him in the knee. And it's like, no, dude, go back and watch the replay.
You're not watching the same match I'm watching.
Jimmy is clearly grabbing at himself in pain.
100%.
Yeah, it was. I would have hated to have been on the receiving end of that.
Yeah. So, great spots in the match.
Decent.
Unfortunately, your prediction came true.
Yeah.
And mine did not. Unfortunately, Shane McMahon did end up turning on The Miz at the end of the match in a pretty big way. Yeah. He went after him, walked up the ramp, came back, went after him again.
Beat him up.
Directly in front of his father.
About
5 feet away.
Shane put on literally the worst... I'm sorry, Chase.
And then attacked his father.
And then he attacked his father.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got in Mr. Miz's face and grabbed his face and shook him really bad.
Yeah.
And, Shane applied probably the worst triangle hold in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu history to the Miz. Miz did his absolute best to sell that thing, but that was just him actually applying it was actually hard to watch. It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't. Honestly, I was too in the moment to really realize any of that.
You were in shock.
I was in shock, man. I was super sad. I realize now why they aren't selling the Mizomac jerseys.
It wasn't,
because they were only together for a few months.
Wasn't gonna last.
Not even
long.
A few months, like couple months.
Yeah, I mean enough for them to become tag champs.
Yeah, co-besties, man.
Co-besties
or ex co-besties.
Ex-besties.
Oh man, I'm so sad. I'm really really sad.
Asbestos. Ex-besties.
Okay.
Well,
Go back to the drawing board on that one.
All right, I'll keep trying. See, here's the deal, man. The first half of this show was so hard to watch. I feel like it was a death's crawl almost. So I feel as though maybe they're like, hey, let's get all the stuff, like all of the not so great stuff out of the way first, and then try and build it towards the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still just sprinklings of stuff all around this show.
Yeah.
Much in the case of this next match, Asuka was victorious against Mandy Rose. Awfully forgettable, I'll be honest.
It would almost have been better if they just didn't do this match and just let it go on.
Man,
I mean, I didn't gain anything from this match.
Yeah.
Asuka went out, looked good. Yeah. Mandy Rose looked good. They're both very talented, but there weren't. I don't know. I didn't have any emotional backing to this match. I didn't care about it, and with that combined with the complete lack of big spots or anything like that, just led to a very unmemorable match that honestly I think would have been better to just not have and continue on with the card.
I mean, the build to this was very much is Mandy Rose a viable contender against Asuka? Because she had gotten a pinfall victory on SmackDown over Asuka. And that was just not the case here. I mean, the match didn't last longer than 7 minutes, and I felt Asuka was in complete control the entire time.
Yeah.
I felt that there was no chance that there was going to be a surprise title win here, and nor should there have been.
No.
There was a little bit of a tease of Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville breaking up, because I think Mandy Rose felt like Sonya Deville maybe had cost her the match.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's probably a breakup, going on there, probably in the near future.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. I mean,
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Great.
Even the possible outcomes and possible routes that they could take after this match is just like,
it has
cool. Do I need that?
It has SmackDown written all over it.
It does.
Yeah. I mean, I just look. please don't put that on WrestleMania. It's not going to be worth me watching that.
Oh God, don't put that on WrestleMania.
No.
Please no.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not of that one, for sure.
No.
So before we get to the next match, we see Kofi Kingston backstage outside of Vince McMahon's dressing room.
Yep.
Right? And Kofi's standing out there, and then the New Day come up to him, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing outside here, Kofi?" And he's like, "Well, I'm waiting for Vince. I've been waiting out here for about an hour." And then I think it was Big E who was like, "Let's just go inside. Let's just go on in and see what he's doing." And so they open up the door, and Vince is just sitting there on the couch, and he goes, "I've been waiting for you for about an hour." Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's great comedy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
super funny.
So they give Vince kind of an ultimatum. They're like, "Hey, Kofi's been here for 11 years. He deserves a shot. What's the deal here?" And Vince is hemming and hawing, and he goes, "You know what? You're right. We're gonna make the match a triple threat tonight." And New Day's celebrating, and Vince goes, "Well, get ready, pal. Your match is next." So there's to us as the initial viewing, it's like, okay, well, there's Kofi. He's gonna go out and have that match.
He's doing something.
Yeah, we're gonna have the WWE title match next. Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't say it would be that though.
He did not say.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just said your match is next.
Chase is 100% right here.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't specify that it was going to be the main event.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was going to be the 3.
Yep. He did not specify at all what the 3-way was going to be. So Kofi comes out. He's hyped. The crowd is hyped.
Oh, yeah.
They are totally into Kofi Mania. And the ring announcer's going off, and he's like, "This is the match for the WWE Championship." And then somebody from ringside comes up and talks into the ring announcer's ear. The ring announcer rephrases and says, "This match is actually a handicap match," and Kofi is out there just looking bummed as all hell.
Yeah.
And the bar comes out.
And even the crowd's like, "What? What?"
And we are then subjected to the longest 5 minutes that I have felt in a long, long time.
It was cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap. It was bad. The bar beat up on Kofi. The New Day tried to make the save. Even though they were banned from ringside, the New Day try to come out and make the save. And then, of course, Rusev and Nakamura come out from their pre-show beating and basically cut off the other New Day members. So Kofi did not have a good night here tonight. He got beat on really bad. And from what we're being told now on this week's edition of SmackDown, they made the case again to Vince, about how Kofi's been doing this for 11 years. He's earned his place. He's earned his title shot, and Vince agrees begrudgingly, and he announces a match for next week's SmackDown, which is going to be Kofi in a gauntlet match against Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, both members of the Bar, and then Eric Rowan, the Big Redwood. So Steven's shaking his head. What's going on, Steven?
It's just so dumb. People want Kofi.
Yeah. I don't know.
What's so bad about giving people Kofi? What's so wrong with that?
Nothing, in my opinion. I don't know why they're going so hard on Kofi.
I mean, the only reason that I can see that they're going so hard on Kofi is so that the payoff at WrestleMania is so big, and that it is, the huge moment that everyone's looking for. But
that's exactly the question I want to pose to you both, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what this is? Isn't this journey for Kofi part of what gets you there to WrestleMania and to be hyped about his potential match with Daniel Bryan, is seeing him go through all 5 of those guys to earn his shot?
I mean, but it seems artificially inflated by Vince, trying to just put this whole David versus Goliath thing together in a month.
Yeah, it's too much in too little time.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not trying to defend Vince in any way. Though, I will say this. You're seeing basically a reflection of Becky Lynch, what's going on with her to get to her match at WrestleMania with Kofi Kingston. And it's exactly the same thing. They put all these barriers in front of Becky Lynch to try and get her to her match in the triple threat, get back into the match with her and Ronda and Charlotte. And they're doing the same exact thing with Kofi in trying to run up to get to his match with Daniel Bryan. They did the same exact thing at WrestleMania, leading to WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan, because he had to beat Triple H in the first match at WrestleMania 30 in order to get his title shot at the end of WrestleMania 30 against Randy Orton and Batista.
Yeah.
And it was this whole me against the system kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's and they only know of that one way to play a babyface character like Kofi, who's undergoing this huge, mania with fans right now, and Becky Lynch. So I mean, it's just,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider the Becky Lynch situation and the Kofi Kingston situation to be equal. Specifically because with the Becky Lynch situation, there's more angles to it than just, let's put Becky through all these trials and tribulations and all this stuff. There's more angles. There's Ronda's feelings towards Becky and things like that. With Kofi's situation, it's literally just Vince being like, I'm going to make it impossible for you to get to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly my argument.
But in professional wrestling, obviously there's the suspension of disbelief and everything like that.
Of course.
Kofi Kingston cannot win that match if you're looking at it from a realistic standpoint.
Okay. How about this? I'll help make the journey a little bit easier for you. Okay. So one of the guys in there is going to be Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles on SmackDown already made it very clear that he wants Orton at WrestleMania.
Right.
So that's going to be a great match in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be very excited about that. So I could easily see AJ Styles getting involved and maybe helping Kofi a little bit there. Okay? Look, so there's already a guy who's already got an X on him, Randy Orton. Okay? Then you have Samoa Joe, who just got pinned clean by Rey Mysterio on SmackDown. So they're probably, I don't know this to be true, but I would imagine that Rey Mysterio's in that hunt for the U.S. title at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Rey Mysterio also getting involved. I can see the New Day forging a lot of alliances on SmackDown to try and get Kofi in.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles would be the two marquee ones right there. Okay? Now, you've got the Bar. The New Day can handle the Bar if they're out there, right? That'll be easy peasy. And then you've got Eric Rowan, and I think Kofi Kingston can undoubtedly handle Eric Rowan on his own.
But I get what you're saying, and there's definitely some similarities to the situations.
Yeah.
But I just think the angle that they're going at with Kofi doesn't come off how they want it to.
Mm.
With Becky, everyone has this crazy fever over Becky, and no one can get over Becky. And so the angle that they're doing with the whole Becky against the system, overcoming her, overcoming or whatever, that's coming off how it's supposed to. But with Kofi, it literally just comes off as Vince doesn't know what he's doing. And Vince doesn't know who people want to see.
I think Vince does know what he's doing. And he's doing it to piss everybody off.
Interesting take.
You're running a business, man. You want people to watch your thing. You don't want to be purposely pissing people off.
We're watching.
Yeah, we're watching it, right?
I think that
it's interesting.
I just think that the angle that they're trying to go with is not coming off correctly.
Would you feel different if they didn't have a very similar angle like what they're running with Becky Lynch going on with Kofi, where it's like me against the system, trying to get what's been earned by me to get to where I need to be into that title shot? Because I'm with Chase on this. What else am I going to look forward to on next week's SmackDown? See, look, there you go. I know I'm going to see at least an hour's worth of Kofi Kingston fighting 5 other guys.
I guess, man, we can agree to disagree on this.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I feel like I'm just regurgitating the same thing.
No,
you know,
of
like,
course.
I think the way that they're building it and the dialogue with Becky's situation is coming off how it's supposed to. Whereas with Kofi, it's literally just Vince being like, people like you, but I don't, so you're not getting the shot. And then Kofi's just like, oh, well, what's gonna happen? Like, it's not Kofi being like, no, screw Vince McMahon, I'm gonna get my shot and I'm gonna be at WrestleMania. It's just Kofi being,
You know, to your point, and I completely agree with you on that, Kofi was very rarely cutting promos until this Tuesday on SmackDown, where he actually kind of defended himself, and he did a really good promo. But a lot of the verbal back and forth against Vince McMahon was coming from both Big E and Xavier Woods, sticking up for Kofi. So, I mean, I can go either way, but I mean, look, I think you and I and Chase, we can all agree here that the chances of, say, Kofi losing in this gauntlet match and Cesaro going to face Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania are very slim.
Slim to none.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. We can definitely agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on. The next match, I pegged this next match as what should have opened the show, because this would have gotten over so big and it would have been so action-packed, but they didn't give it a lot of time. They gave it, this is going to be the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. They gave it almost 11 minutes, and it was action-packed.
Yeah,
it was a very good match.
Absolutely.
For what it's worth. So this is where the real beef of the show is coming in. I would probably rate this here probably about a 3.5 for what it was worth. But again, if it was given more time, I would have liked to have seen this hit maybe the 15-minute mark. Rather than what it was. I think it could have been played out a lot better. Yeah,
especially with the type of match that it is, being a triple threat tag match. That's a lot of guys in the ring all at once. And if you're going to limit that to right at 10 minutes or under 15 minutes or whatever it is, that's not a lot of time to shine for any of those guys. You know? So, I think they all looked great in it. The match itself was very good. Yeah, I think so. But to your point, I think it being longer would have definitely done it some justice for sure.
A lot of it was Aleister Black and Ricochet clearing out house.
Yep.
Aleister Black getting the hot tag and really doing some damage. Ricochet doing some high flying spots, which was great. There was a really, I would say it was slightly dangerous, but it kind of came off as sloppy. Hurricane Rana top rope spot to the outside.
That was
well, Ricochet totally just fell.
Yeah.
He just fell.
He fell.
Which I'm not going to knock that on him because the things I've seen that man do is nuts. But unfortunately he did. He did fall there.
And Scott Dawson probably didn't want to, roll that way, or maybe he was a little bit hesitant as like, okay, I'm going to try and front flip over into these guys.
Right.
Who knows. But it was a good match. And then, the Revival hit the Shatter Machine on Chad Gable. And that was it. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
So the Revival came off looking pretty strong. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable did not.
No, they looked awful.
I wouldn't say awful.
Not in the sense of like their ring presence being awful or anything like that, but their storyline tag team looked awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they looked fine in the ring. They weren't sloppy or anything like that, but in storyline, not good for them.
I'm really waiting for this Bobby Roode and Chad Gable team to split, and Chad Gable, really break out as a big single star. I think he's really got it in him. He's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Not that Bobby Roode doesn't. I would rather see Bobby Roode maybe start a feud with Finn Balor, maybe for the Intercontinental title.
That'd be cool.
That would be dope.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Chad Gable, maybe throw him also into that Intercontinental title run in the mid card. I mean, I think he's got all the tools that it takes to be a big star. It reminds me a lot of Kurt Angle in a lot of ways. And then of course Aleister Black and Ricochet came off looking really strong. The following night on Raw they had a tag match against Roode and Gable, where they went over and they got their win, a little bit of revenge there. And then the Revival came out and attacked Aleister Black and Ricochet after the match. So, for me, all signs are pointing to maybe that being the tag team WrestleMania match for the Raw titles, the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet. I think it would be really cool if they have Aleister Black and Ricochet having both tag team title matches on that weekend. You'll have them maybe in the finals against War Machine at TakeOver New York, or TakeOver, I think it's like Brooklyn 5. I think that's what they're titling it as. Or maybe just TakeOver New York City. I don't remember. Whatever. They're gonna face the tag team champs in NXT, and maybe the next night they'll, or at WrestleMania rather, they'll have the match against the Revival for the titles.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
I think that'd be a really cool way to go. Especially like I just love that gimmick when one person or a tag team holds multiple titles.
Yeah.
Just makes them come off looking really, really strong.
Yeah.
And who better to hold both of those titles, in my opinion, than Aleister Black and Ricochet?
Right.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna look pretty strong. I mean, I will probably preview that match if it comes to pass before then. So I look forward to it. But yeah, I think this is I think they're building for a big opportunity weekend for Aleister Black and Ricochet. The next match here would be the Fatal 4-Way match for the United States Championship. So the champion Samoa Joe retains with defeating Andrade, R-Truth, and Rey Mysterio. This was another really good match, and it actually had an identical time to the previous match. So both those matches were really good. But yeah, Samoa Joe retains the title here. I believe it was Rey Mysterio who got choked out. Yep. But like I said, Rey got his win back on SmackDown this week. So nice. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a Rey Mysterio Samoa Joe match.
That's an interesting dynamic. I'd be down to see that.
It would be very interesting. And Samoa Joe's a good guy with a good amount of work rate to hang with somebody, a legend of Rey Mysterio's caliber.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'd be interested in that, or maybe make it a 3-way with Andrade. Andrade had a really strong showing in this match too.
Man, Andrade needs to be pushed way more than he is.
Yeah.
The talent.
Yeah, he's
talent, man.
He came in with the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's very, very young.
Yeah.
Let me take a look here. Yeah, he's about 29.
Yeah,
29. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Just a little bit older than myself.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder where my life's gone.
No, but you're the man.
I am wearing the man shirt.
No, but you are the man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. It was a solid match. I'd highly recommend checking it out because all 4 guys came away looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I would probably say also within the 3.5 to 4-star range on that one there. We're gonna get into a little bit of a downer here, unfortunately. The Boss and Hug Connection.
Yay!
Defeated Nia Jax and Tamina.
Boo!
There you go.
Little tidbit. If we ever say Nia Jax and Tamina on Headlock Talk, we're probably booing right afterwards.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, this was... it was a match.
This was a cluster explicit word.
Yeah. I was not a totally big fan, and I feel like Bayley and Sasha, and again, I know we've always been really harsh on Nia Jax and Tamina. One would argue rightfully so.
I would argue rightfully so.
But I feel like the Boss and the Hug Connection would work better against maybe another team with a lot higher work rate than Nia Jax and Tamina. But of course, Nia Jax and Tamina, they're there because they draw a lot of heat. So
I can't deny that.
I mean, it was a pretty straightforward win for the Boss and Hug Connection. They struggled a little bit, but ultimately they came away with the victory. Interesting spot following there. There was a little bit of interaction between Tamina and Beth Phoenix, who was at ringside.
Right.
And Beth Phoenix, she hit Tamina with a forearm and was trying to go at her, and then Nia Jax comes in and just pummels her.
Yeah, I actually don't remember that.
In normal Nia Jax fashion.
Yeah, very, very cheap.
Yeah.
Natalya came out after that, and then Nia Jax and Tamina squashed everybody, basically.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is, y'all.
Which, that led to a very interesting string of tweets from Tamina.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what to feel about that. I mean, I would imagine that maybe they got on her a little bit about that.
I would hope so.
She used a particular P word in reference to Natalya having cats.
Man, you were downplaying it so much.
Hey, man, you guys can check it out on your own. I mean, it's on Tamina's Twitter page. You can.
She hasn't deleted it.
She has not deleted it.
Okay.
It's very much there.
Wow.
Yeah.
For people who aren't aware, I'm just gonna lay it out a little bit.
Okay.
Tamina basically told Natalya to go play with her, P word.
Meow.
Yeah. And what?
Yeah, I just don't know. Like look, with this being Prime WrestleMania season, again, Tamina being anywhere near the WrestleMania card gives me the shivers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know what she's angling at to try and start a feud with Natalya or Beth Phoenix or anything in that realm.
Yeah.
I just don't have any interest in it.
See, I'd much rather see Boss and Hug versus Natalya and Beth Phoenix.
But it's the Ronda Rousey effect. Ronda Rousey playing real person on wrestling Twitter. And breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, because that works so well.
Saying
for her.
Everything's fake but me, and Tamina's just
okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's a crazy world, this internet thing.
It's a crazy world. Crazy world.
But on a much better note,
yes.
Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens, and then we found out who the third man was.
Yeah.
Mr. Mustafa Ali,
mm-hmm.
who I pegged a few months back as being a guy deserving of a title shot.
Yeah.
The crowd reception to Mustafa Ali was lackluster, to say the least. The crowd was really invested in wanting to see Kofi again.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, when you set it up like that,
yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna be a triple threat, Kofi. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I halfway thought that they were gonna still bring out Kofi, right?
Yeah, because you're just stealing the enjoyment of wanting to watch Kofi fight in that match away from the crowd, not just him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I think it would have been a pretty interesting angle, have Kofi come out all beat up and still have to persevere in through the match.
Yeah.
Maybe come really, really close, but, maybe Daniel Bryan still gets the pin over Kevin Owens. Who knows what that would have transpired or what that would have looked like. But Mustafa Ali had a really good showing, though. I think they won over the crowd as the match went on.
Yeah.
It was a good match.
It was a very good match, and to be honest, the crowd was not a very good one. I don't know.
Well, you told them that they were going to get Kofi Kingston.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So that's all they wanted at that point, was they wanted Kofi. And then Mustafa Ali comes out, and they're like, what?
But even before that, though, I don't know.
I mean, they didn't give him much reason to want to like something.
That's true. That's true.
So, who knows, really. But I really like this match. I still put it in the 4-star range. It was a lot of good action. Kevin Owens came off looking really strong.
Yeah.
Some really crazy spots, especially a pop-up powerbomb that was thrown onto the ring apron.
Yeah.
Which that looks painful.
Looked real bad.
Daniel Bryan's chest, man, he's been taking some of the craziest chops in the world, and I don't think I've seen his chest not red in the past.
It looks like he got hit with a buckshot or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It is all sorts of red.
Yeah,
so
it's real bad.
Hopefully he's using some
I kind of changed my opinion on the Kevin Owens stunner a little bit.
Yeah, you like it?
He pulls it off.
He does.
He pulls it off.
He does.
I'm not gonna lie. I still think that it would have been better to leave it alone, but Kevin Owens pulls it off. So I'll take it.
Now, if it gets to the point where, like, after he cuts a promo, he stands on the second turnbuckle and, like, people throw 2 beers at him, and then he crashes the beers and then swigs them. Yeah, that's the cutoff point. I'm drawing the line there.
Stone Cold Kevin Owens.
Stone Cold Kevin Owens. It's not gonna be, or maybe it should be. I don't know, dude.
Who knows?
I hope it's not a thing. But maybe it'll be interesting. I don't know.
Who knows?
But I really liked how he came off, and it was a very solid match. Mustafa Ali, like I said, had a really good showing too. There's a few spots where it was like, oh wow, he's really performing at a really high level.
Yeah.
And it was good to see him come back because I know he was out injured for a long, long time. And a lot of the reason why Kofi is in the position that he's in is because Mustafa Ali got injured.
Yeah.
So
did Kofi Kingston do it?
No, it was just a last minute change because I think there was a match where Samoa Joe injured Mustafa Ali, and there was
right before Elimination Chamber.
He had multiple different injuries, like his eye was hurt. There was a lot of different things going on.
Yeah,
and they just yanked him from the Elimination Chamber match and put in Kofi, and then Kofi they just strapped a rocket to Kofi, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah,
all right,
it's cool,
man.
Yeah,
and maybe some of these weird matches for Kofi is just them trying to shoe him in to a storyline that he wasn't going to be in necessarily.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because as soon as the fans took to Kofi, plans changed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Maybe that's why he's been so passive about like what's going on, because like when he was just standing outside of McMahon's office, he was just like whatever. Like, I've just been out here for an hour. But like it didn't seem like it like bothered him or anything.
Right.
And he was even like no to Big E and the other guy.
Mm.
And I was just like, okay, whatever. You should be more pissed, dude. He's been making you wait for an hour.
Yeah.
And then he just told you
I've been waiting outside
for an hour.
Yeah. I'm waiting out here for an hour.
And see that goes on to the point I made when we were talking about the Kofi match, is that Kofi doesn't seem annoyed about this at all, and that's why the Becky storyline is coming off so much better.
Right.
Well,
look, the more that we build this here, and the more that Kofi looks to be the next guy, I think I'll be fine with it by the time WrestleMania season rolls around.
Yeah.
I just want Kofi to come on top.
Absolutely. He's
been going through it.
Yeah, he's had a great run, and like I said, this to me feels like a mirror image of what Daniel Bryan went through leading up to WrestleMania 30, where it was Daniel Bryan had to go through all these obstacles to finally get to where he was, and then he finally got to WrestleMania, and he fought Triple H for that spot, he beat Triple H for that spot, and then he went and won the titles, which was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Speaking of Daniel Bryan, the end of this match here with him and Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali was crazy. Mustafa Ali was going to do a high spot off the top rope, and Daniel Bryan does a running knee and just hits him right square in the face. So another mid-air collision spot.
Mm-hmm.
Savage spot. It looked nasty.
Yeah, it did.
So that was a real way to end that match, and I think the right man won. Obviously, the new Daniel Bryan.
The new Daniel Bryan. Yeah.
So recycle, kids, or else Daniel Bryan's coming after you.
Yeah, he's gonna call you fickle.
Yeah.
And ignorant.
Yeah. He's gonna throw hot dogs at you.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Maybe some cabbage.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe.
Man, that like promo that they made of him saying fickle 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Fickle.
It was great.
It's wonderful.
I've said it before. I love the new Daniel Bryan. He's great.
He's amazing.
He's just great. Yeah.
So we are at the penultimate match of the card.
Yeah.
This one was with a lot of stakes attached to it here.
I called it.
Yeah.
I called it.
Yeah, you absolutely called it here,
100%
Steven.
called it.
I absolutely called 100% there. So this was Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair by disqualification to win her spot in the Women's Championship match at WrestleMania 35.
Yep.
Becky comes out. She's got the crutch. She gives up the crutch after she enters the ring. This was a solid 8.5 minutes of beat down by Charlotte Flair. With Becky kind of trying to worm her way out of different situations.
Yeah. Intermittently getting, some shots in every now and then, but it was pretty one-sided.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we called it. Ronda Rousey runs down to the ring, and it only takes one punch to, Becky Lynch.
Yep.
And, that's it. Disqualification. Becky Lynch is in the match. Now, one could argue that maybe Becky should be more hot-headed about the situation towards maybe both Ronda and the referee and Charlotte, a true baby face like her would not want a match to end in such a way with the opportunity that's at stake. Maybe she would want the actual legit win.
Right.
So she kind of came off a little bit flat there, pointing to the Wrestlemania sign and saying, well, I'm in.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just got clocked in the face by Ronda. Ronda's standing in the other corner with a smirk on her face, and Charlotte's in the other corner to that.
Yeah.
Looking all frumpy.
Yeah.
And pouting about the whole situation.
I can see why Becky would want to win it in that way, but look at the first 8 minutes of that match. There was no way you were going to.
No, absolutely. Well, and they kind of played it off on the following SmackDown, where Becky comes out and she cuts a promo, and I mean her reasoning's pretty good. She says, "Well, I got so deep into Ronda's head that she came out and clocked me and got me my ticket into the match." Yeah. So I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I can understand why people would feel a little bit more critical about how this played out.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, it sets up the match that we all knew what was going to happen, and I'm still very much excited about this. They need to heat this match a lot more than what they are right now, because I think a lot of the writing's been very convoluted so far. Mm-hmm. We need some real major tension going into WrestleMania. Yeah. Especially if this is going to close the show.
Yeah, for sure. Which I'm assuming it will.
I mean, it's between that and Brock and Seth.
Yeah. I mean, either one would be fine to put there, but I think with how huge Ronda Rousey is and Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair for that matter, I think it'd be much better to put it at the end.
Yeah.
If it goes
our way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the main event, The Shield defeats Baron Corbin, Lashley, and Drew McIntyre in the last ride of The Shield.
Yeah.
They kept saying it.
That was great.
Yeah. There you go.
It was a great match.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
It was very good. Mm-hmm. It was a very well done match. Shield came out in classic Shield riot gear.
Yep. They did the intro from the crowd. Brought back memories, man.
It was very well done.
Yeah, the crowd ate it up.
Oh man, yeah.
There was all sorts of carnage. Seth jumped off of a balcony at one point. There was Shield bombs all around.
Yeah.
And then Baron Corbin was the last one standing, and he ate a giant Shield bomb. Seth Rollins, towards the end of the match, says, one last effing time.
Yeah.
Shouted it really loud enough to where they had to cut the audio.
Yeah.
Like all the audio.
The audio went
They didn't
dead.
even have time to...
It's such a good spot, though. It was so good.
Yeah.
Because, he really...
He was very fired up.
He was very fired up. And it was real, too. To a certain degree, these guys haven't wrestled as the Shield in a very long time. So all of that emotion that we were getting from him was real, and it definitely came off that way too.
And Michael Cole gives it away to you at the very beginning of the match as the Shield are coming out to the ring that the reason why they're saying that this is the last time for the Shield is because Dean Ambrose has not signed his contract.
Right.
So they're clearly giving it away for the crowd. They're breaking down that fourth wall again, showing you what the real side of this is.
Yeah.
Which, if tastefully done like they did in this way, I think it's more than acceptable.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I mean, everybody had a good showing. I was really buying into Dean Ambrose turning on Roman at the end of the match. And that did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come out on Raw at the very top of the show, and they do a little Shield farewell. And I was thinking, okay, this has to be it.
Yeah.
And it did not happen.
Oh, man.
So it was like, wow, okay, well, I guess they're going to just close it and take a bow. Later on in the night, they were supposed to have the main event, which was going to be Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin. Yeah. I mean, Baron Corbin's probably the most over-pushed guy on the roster, but
100%.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So Roman comes out, and he's ready for his match, and then out of nowhere, Drew McIntyre comes out and just lays waste to Roman Reigns. So to the point to where both Seth and Dean come out to like help Roman get backstage and like, hey man, you need to see the doctor and need to get checked out. It's okay, man. Don't worry about it,
brother.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
So they're shown backstage, and basically Seth walks with Roman into the doctor's office, but Dean turns right back around and just happens to bump into Triple H, who is passing by.
Mm-hmm.
And
convenient.
Convenient. Right. Dean says, "I want a match with Drew McIntyre. I want it to be no count out, no disqualifications, false count anywhere."
Wow.
Oh man.
Okay.
So it was for about 15 minutes or so. It was a very big brawl all around the arena.
Nice.
There was a really funny spot where they were at the kind of like the concessions area, and there was like some knocked over popcorn, and Dean was like crouched next to Drew, who was like kind of gathering his wits about him, but Dean like crouches down and grabs some of the popcorn off the floor and starts eating it. It was pretty good.
That's awesome.
He made like this weird face to the camera, like he does.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a decent enough match, but I feel like the way that they're going here now, Drew completely took him out. Like he gave him a Claymore kick where like Dean's neck was like in like a guardrail, and so it was almost like he like broke his neck or something like that. So it looked very brutal. Drew just completely destroyed Dean Ambrose, who was trying to do right by his brother Roman.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is how they're officially writing Dean off, or what the deal is. Whether or not he's going to re-sign his contract, quote unquote, remains to be seen. There is precedent here because they did this back when CM Punk was leaving, right? They did the whole pipe bomb thing, or CM Punk was like, "I'm going to leave. I'm going to walk out of Chicago with the WWE title. I'm never coming back." He did all those things, and then 2 weeks later he comes back and defends his title, right? So, I mean, I think it's definitely very possible that Dean Ambrose is going to still re-sign his contract. I mean,
let everyone believe that he's not.
Definitely. I mean, his wife's doing commentary.
Yeah.
I feel as though he'd probably want to spend more time with his actual, wife and family and the people that he cares about than maybe splintering off and maybe joining AEW or doing something else. I mean, AEW is really the only other alternative for him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, either way it goes, I think Dean's going to be fine. He's going to be great wherever he is.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would like him to re-sign with WWE, just because this heel character that he's been doing for the past few months is fantastic. I love Dean Ambrose's heel character. I think it's great, and he doesn't even try very hard, and it just comes off really, really well. If he goes to AEW, awesome too. There's a lot of great talent there, and there will be different writers. He might get some different storylines. I think that would be great too, but I would love to see him stay in WWE. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you 100% there. Though I would be a big fan of if Vince could just cut the leash a little bit and kind of give Dean his own kind of personal control over what he's doing, and because Dean can probably write a much better script for himself than what Vince and others can write for him.
Yeah.
So if you just kind of let Dean be Dean, maybe a bit more of an anti-hero, folksy kind of character.
Yeah.
Folk hero kind of character rather than folksy. I think that's probably the wrong word. Whatever. But just let him be kind of like, I'm above being a good guy or a bad guy. I do my own thing.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm me.
I think the fans would take to that a lot better than something that feels forced by him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that goes for about 90% of the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably quite a few people who need to be written by somebody else, but Dean's not one of those guys.
Yeah. For sure.
Some other things that happen on Raw, because I know we've been trying to catch people up on what's going on with Raw and what's going on with SmackDown. And, we will be doing little short reviews in the future. I'll help you guys out and follow along if you're going to watch it on Hulu the next day or whatever. I'll give you some short insight as to our opinions on what's going on there. But another big angle that they did on Raw was Triple H and Batista had their facing off with each other.
Mm-hmm.
and they cut really good promos in the ring.
Obviously.
And Batista demanded, Triple H, you need to give me what I want. And Triple H is like, what am I supposed to do? I've handed you the world and everything, right? Like, and then you keep quitting on me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you what you want. And then Batista's like, give me what I want. And they kept doing this back and forth thing. Finally, Batista says what he wants, and he wants a match with Triple H. So Triple H says, okay, I'll give you what you want, but it's going to be on my terms, and it's going to be a no-holds-barred match at WrestleMania.
Right on.
So that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Triple H, I mean, for all it's worth, I know he's been kind of a bit of a divisive figure, but he always shows up at WrestleMania. And this is going to be a big match.
I love Triple H. I love Batista, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
That'll be a great match.
Yeah.
They always put on great matches with each other. So I'm more than excited for this. Another big announcement on Raw was Kurt Angle will be retiring at WrestleMania.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this is nothing against Kurt Angle. I love Kurt Angle. I don't want you to get hurt, my man.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get hurt. And you're going to if you continue.
It's the right thing for his health. He's got little children now.
Yeah.
He needs to be there as a father, and this is the right thing. A lot of rumors circulating about who it's going to be. My big money's on John Cena.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle was John Cena's first opponent when John Cena hit SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
It would only be fitting if they just don't give it any kind of clue leading up to it. Just call it Kurt Angle's farewell match.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle comes to the ring, and he's like, who's it going to be? I'm ready for anybody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The crowd would lose it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think that would be great. And I am sad to see Kurt Angle go, for sure, obviously. But, like you said, it's the right thing to do. So I'm excited for this match.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts on the show or anything else pertaining to Fastlane or anything that we've seen this week?
Was that Bobby Lashley promo on Fastlane?
What Bobby Lashley promo?
I think it was the
one where he actually talked.
Yeah, where he actually spoke. Yeah, it was because he was right next to
Drew
Corbin
McIntyre.
and McIntyre.
Yeah.
It was rough.
I mean,
maybe you need Leo.
Who knows? Well, that's what I've been saying, man. He just needs somebody who can talk for him. Oh, well, that's another thing. Leo Rush came back and helped Bobby Lashley win the IC title again from Finn Balor on Raw.
So they're maybe getting back in cahoots?
Oh, I'm sure they're back in cahoots.
Okay.
Leo Rush came out to ringside in a hoodie and took the ring bell and started ringing the bell mid-match, and Finn Balor's like, what the hell's going on? And turned around and got smushed by Bobby Lashley.
Oh, man.
And that was it, the 1, 2, 3. And then, the hood drops, and it's Leo Rush, of course, who helped Bobby Lashley regain his IC title. So who knows what's going on there.
Poor Finn Balor.
Poor Finn.
Yeah.
Speaking of Finn Balor, ladies and gentlemen, it's the time that you've all been waiting for.
Oh, snap.
We are going to cover the top portion of the bracket for the Fantasy Warfare 2018-2019 coverage. Last week we covered the bottom bracket. So, if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check out our previous episode where we covered the bottom half of the bracket. We did see some decent contests here. Let's just kind of go over who we had going over last week.
Yeah.
In last week's matches, we had the Velveteen Dream and Johnny Gargano. We went with Johnny Gargano picking up the victory there.
Yeah. That was painful. It was painful for me.
It was a hard decision to make.
Yeah, but it was the right one.
It was the right one. We had Kenny Omega going over Chris Jericho. We had Ricochet going over Pete Dunne. And we had Daniel Bryan defeating AJ Styles. So Gargano, Omega, Ricochet, and Bryan moved on.
Mm-hmm.
This week we're covering the top half of the bracket. So the way that this works, everybody, is we talk about the individuals. We talk about who had the better 2018, 2019, just overall, how the actual match itself would play out, strengths, weaknesses, overall history of these competitors.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is just our opinion. We're not saying anybody's better than anybody else, but this is a little bit more of a conversation starter, and this is our March Madness for the wrestling fans, so to speak. So, without further ado, our first match of the evening.
Yes.
We have Finn Balor former IC champion.
Yeah.
Versus Aleister Black, who's coming off a pretty big run.
Huge run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this one here, I'm a bit torn, I'll be honest, because I like both very, very much.
Yeah.
One could argue that if it weren't for somebody like Finn Balor making it and being such a legend, that somebody like Aleister Black couldn't maybe possibly get into WWE. But if you look at the patterns that they've had Finn Balor in, he was almost non-existent for a lot of 2018.
Yeah.
Or at least in kind of these meandering feuds.
Yeah.
And then he finally
kind of just helping people out when they get jumped.
Yep.
That was most of Finn Balor's 2018.
Yep. He had a pretty decent running up through here in 2019. He got to face Brock Lesnar. He was pushed really hard for that match.
Pretty decent match, too.
He didn't beat Brock, but he got a little bit of a consolation prize in that he won the IC title off of Bobby Lashley. And then he's now dropped it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a bit tough for Finn.
Yeah.
The inverse here, Aleister Black had an amazing 2018.
Yeah.
He became NXT champion. Right? He defeated Andrade Almas. He defended the title against Ciampa. He had a
fantastic match.
Yeah, the
one of the best matches I've seen.
I mean, both the matches that he had with Ciampa recently.
Yeah.
The one on NXT where he lost the title, and the one
that's the one I'm talking about.
Ooh, yeah, that one was great. And then he went away for a while. He came back. He had a really good match with Johnny Gargano. And he had another really good match against Tommaso Ciampa. He had another good match as part of Halftime Heat.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And now he's in a really good partnership with Ricochet, going in through all the way through WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, and potentially 2 tag team title shots within the span of 3 days. So, I mean, I hate to sound one-sided here, but I mean, Aleister Black has a really difficult resume to stand up against if you're anybody else in this tournament right now.
Yeah. So I'm just going to come right out with it. I'm going Aleister Black on this one. Obviously, if you guys have listened to the other episodes, Tanner and I are very huge fans of Finn Balor.
Yep.
Very huge fans of Aleister Black. But I'm going based off the same reason I put Omega versus Jericho.
Yeah.
We're specifically looking at 2018, 2019. Specifically looking at those years, there is no contest that Aleister Black would win this one.
Yeah.
You know, just like the Omega and Jericho match, I do think that Jericho would win, but we're going based on 2018, 2019.
Right.
And so I had to go with Omega.
Yep.
Same here.
I mean, 5 years ago, this may have been a different story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a more traditional wrestler, I don't believe that 90% of those out there could hang with Finn Balor, right? Finn Balor is amazingly talented. He is a legend of the circuit, in his own right. To say that he's not getting the respect not necessarily the respect, but rather the kind of push he deserves in WWE right now is an understatement.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
100%.
On his first Raw, he beat Roman Reigns at the height of Roman Reigns' power.
Yeah.
And earned himself the first ever Universal title match shot against Seth Rollins, and then beat Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
It is a tragedy that he happened to be injured in that match, and that took a lot out of his push.
Yeah. Right,
because they were going to make him the next guy.
Yeah, and he has all of the talent and ability to be that guy.
Right.
For sure.
If this played out in real life, I think that they could match each other for speed and ability, but I think that only goes against Finn Balor in this case, because Aleister Black has not only had a better run in all of 2018 and 2019, But he is actually like a legit kickboxing specialist.
Yeah.
Like he's got a full-on martial arts background to pair with his professional wrestling. And you can tell that in his abilities and the moves that he has, right?
And his technique, his form,
Absolutely, 100%. And I think that the Black Mass is just such a devastating strike that anybody who takes that, it's lights out, it's done.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have no other choice but to go with Aleister Black in this case.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. To be honest, I thought you were going to go with Finn Balor. I really thought so.
I was very close to until this past Raw when Finn dropped the title to Lashley.
Yeah, it's kind of the nail in the coffin there.
I was like, you know what, man? Like, look, I feel like Aleister Black would beat Lashley if he was in a singles run.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
So I guess we're having Aleister Black move on, and in the tournament here, he beats Finn Balor.
There we have the first winner of our top bracket.
Of the top bracket.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Aleister Black.
Absolutely.
The next match, very interesting as well. We have the man who's main eventing WrestleMania this year against Brock Lesnar, one Mr. Seth Rollins, against someone who has had an equally interesting year himself for 2018 and 19. One Mr. Cody Rhodes. He went from headlining shows and being part of Wrestle Kingdoms and really helping out both New Japan and Ring of Honor and bring them to a level that they've never seen before. To now being the vice president of AEW, and he himself is going to get a huge slot, I'm sure, in his own company.
Yeah. I'm assuming he'd get a push in his own company.
You never know. Maybe he might just be like, I'm just going to take jobs,
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
But, look, both guys have a lot of ability.
Yeah.
Both guys are probably at the height of their powers right now. This would be a very interesting contest.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Steven. You convince me here because I think this could go either way.
Okay. So again, I'll just come right out with it. I'm gonna go Rollins on this one.
Yeah.
And specifically because look at Rollins 2018 and 2019. He's got a huge WrestleMania event coming up versus Brock Lesnar, which we're all hoping he's going to be the hero we deserve and finally slay the beast and put Brock Lesnar away for good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with everything happening with the Shield recently, he's just been cutting great promos, making great matches, and really making a lot of inroads. And that's funny, Rhodes, Cody.
Crossroads, if you will.
Yeah. And Cody, on the other hand, obviously extremely talented both in the ring and on the mic, and I'm really excited to see what he does in AEW. But me personally, I haven't seen much of him until this year. So maybe that's not quite the convincing that you wanted. But for me, Rollins has proven himself time and time again, and it's not that Cody has proven himself to not be capable. It's just I haven't seen very much.
I've seen a lot more of Cody than you have.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure. So I'll present the argument for Cody.
You might have to be a tiebreaker here, Chase.
Yeah, we're gonna have to drag you into this one here, unfortunately, my friend.
All
right. So Cody had some great matches. He had a great match with Ibushi, Kota Ibushi, rather, who we'll get to here in a little bit.
Yep.
At Wrestle Kingdom 12.
Who did he wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom 13?
That was with Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson, that's right.
Yeah, so Cody actually, interestingly enough, he had a big year himself. He won the U.S. title off of Juice Robinson at one point. I think it was in one of New Japan's American events, which was great. Another big part of Cody this year is his feud with Kenny Omega.
Right.
And that dragged on for a big part of it. the whole Bullet Club is fine, but the Bullet Club is actually fracturing. It was a huge dynamic, and there was a big power struggle between him and Kenny, which led to them having a match. Actually, a few different matches. It even led to Kenny having to resort to reuniting with Kota Ibushi to reform the Golden Lovers to actually get past all these things.
Yeah.
There was I think it was one of the first times ever, if not the first time ever, Cody, Kenny, and Kota Ibushi had a 3-way match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
That sounds so good.
It was actually really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, Cody himself had a couple of really great one-on-one matches with Kenny in both Ring of Honor and in New Japan. In Ring of Honor, he actually won. He actually beat Kenny, which I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
And then Kenny got his win back at the New Japan, I think, G1 show that they were having here in America. So, of course, all this leads to All In. Cody wins and gains the NWA title, at his own show. Sells out a stadium of 10,000. First non-WWE event to do that in 20 years.
Yeah, for not even an established promotion.
Right.
And
now they've done it again. They've sold out another show, 15,000 people.
Yeah.
Another huge independent event. So there's a lot on Cody's resume, but of course Seth Rollins himself, multi-time Intercontinental Champion just this year.
Yeah.
Put on a string of awesome performances. He was the workhorse for WWE for the great stretch of this year, which was very lackluster.
Yeah.
And then he got what he deserved and won the Royal Rumble, and now he's going to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 35. So, I mean, look, if this was about what goes on outside the ring, I would have Cody doing this hands down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hands down.
For sure.
But because we're talking about an actual potential athletic contest here between the two men, I'm also going with Seth Rollins. And I think that even Cody, as a booker, someone who would book a show like this, I don't think he would disagree necessarily with that outcome.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I guess we're going with Rollins?
Going with Rollins.
All right.
Yep.
Going with Rollins. Chase, you on board with that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've only seen Rollins more than Cody. So
Okay.
Gotcha.
that's just who I was going to say.
For sure.
Just because I've just seen more of him.
Yeah.
And his matches are fun to watch.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100% agree with you on that there, Chase.
Alrighty, well, congratulations, Seth Rollins.
Congratulations, Seth. So Seth is going to be facing Aleister Black in the quarters.
Yep.
That's going to be a hell of a match.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Let me see. Is it the quarters or is it the semis?
Those would be the quarters, I believe. I don't want to mess with this because it's going to mess it up.
Okay.
But, I believe it's the quarters.
Let's see. Let's just double check it here. Yes, the quarters.
Yeah.
So Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins in the quarters. We've got two more matches here, ladies and gentlemen. Two huge breakout stars. Will Ospreay versus Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, what can be said about Tommaso Ciampa that hasn't already been said by both of us on
multiple episodes.
occasions? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I have to go with Ciampa, man. Will Ospreay, he's fantastic, and his ring work is really, really good. Just from the little amount of matches that I've seen from maybe like 2 or 3, just from ones that you've showed me. But again, Ciampa, man, he just continuously goes out and puts on classics time and time again.
Yeah.
And Ciampa's one of those wrestlers where I feel like his bar is a lot higher than most people's. Like, Ciampa's worst is better than a lot of people's best.
Yeah.
Honestly. And, not to take anything away from Will Ospreay, because he wouldn't be on this list if we didn't, respect his in-ring talent and everything like that. But, man,
I mean, that's completely fair.
If you're putting Will Ospreay up against Ciampa, I'm going to have to say Ciampa.
I will attest to this. I mean, I've seen a lot of Will Ospreay. I've seen a lot of him in New Japan recently. I've seen a lot of him in Progress.
I know you showed me a little bit of the Progress.
Yeah, he's probably one of the landmark guys in Progress. Probably one of the founding fathers, I would say, that made Progress what it is today. It's tough because Will Ospreay does put in great performances night in, night out, right? But if we're looking at push for push, when both guys had great years, Tommaso Ciampa, I mean, he's probably the number one heel in the entire industry. I'm talking Japan, America, Mexico.
I completely agree with that.
UK, everywhere. What's tough is Tommaso Ciampa's recent injury.
Yeah.
And how much does that damage him, right? Me personally, I don't think a lot. You know, I mean, I think that his 2018 up to now, where he's gotten injured, is strong enough to definitely outweigh it here because he was,
I mean, it speaks for itself, you know.
He became the main reason why you watch NXT, right? Mm-hmm. Paul Heyman even said as much himself that it's outstanding that NXT grew such an amazing talent and got such an amazing talent like Tommaso Ciampa in the position that he's in. And got people really watching that part of the product. And he's great heel, amazing matches with Johnny Gargano, amazing match with Velveteen Dream, amazing match with Aleister Black. I mean, everything he touched.
Not to mention all of his DIY reoccurrences that have been going on.
100%. I mean, everything he touches is Goldie.
Yeah. Good one. Good one.
So, I mean, here's what I'll say about Ospreay, and this is no slack to him because he had a great match against Kota Ibushi. He had a great run in the juniors division in New Japan. He has had countless number of solid matches in Progress as well. But I will argue for him. His 2019 up through 2020 is going to be a whole hell of a lot bigger than most people's runs all this year. He's in the New Japan Cup right now. He's doing very, very well. He beat Kota Ibushi for the never open weight title. He has potentially a huge match. He had a huge match against Jay White, and potentially he's gonna just saying, win that next New Japan tournament and go on to face Jay White again. Not 100%, but hey, he's in there. He's in the mix. It's a very strong possibility at this point. A year from now when we do this tournament again, Will Ospreay is definitely going to be somebody to watch out for.
Yeah.
But this year, Tommaso Ciampa, with the title that he's had, with getting called up to the main roster, with just the rivalries and the stories that he tells, I mean, not only is he my pick to advance here, I think he's a favorite to win the whole bracket.
I agree with all of that.
Cool. All right. Well, I made my impassioned argument for the evening, so we'll go over. I guess is it anonymous? Anonymous.
It is anonymous.
It's anonymous.
Yeah.
But it's also unanimous.
Yeah.
We're gonna put Tommaso Ciampa up into the next round.
Yeah.
Commiserations, Will Ospreay. We will see you again next year because I know you're going to put out more classics this year, and we can't wait to see you again in next year's tournament. We're going to close the night here with what is on paper most people's pick to win the New Japan tournament, or to be in the finals of the New Japan Cup tournament this year. In one side of the ring, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. On the other side, Kota Ibushi, the Golden Star of Japan. This would be an amazing match, just out of both men's sheer ability and willingness to tell a story. So just to kind of break it down, because I know both of y'all maybe don't watch as much New Japan as I do, but Okada just wrapped up probably the single greatest title run in Japanese history. He beat all comers for 18 months. Yeah, huge title run.
Better than Brock.
Way better than Brock. I mean, considering Brock only defended the title, maybe 4 or 5 times?
Dude, I'm sorry to, jump.
No, please. This is your show, too.
I want Ciampa to fight Brock for the title.
Oh, and put him away?
And put him away.
Oh, man.
That would be
and
great.
then have him keep the title for forever and do multiple matches.
Yes.
Way more than Brock.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that would be way more
I can't say I disagree with you. That would be fantastic.
That would be so entertaining.
Yeah.
It would be hilarious if at WrestleMania Tommaso Ciampa jumps the guardrail wearing a neck brace and just has a chair and just smashes the crap out of Brock while the ref's down.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be beautiful. And then, maybe he does these backstage segments with Seth going hey, you owe me one. And just have that keep going on for months.
There you go.
And then Seth and Ciampa have a match when he's all set.
It could happen.
It could happen.
Man, we should be writers, y'all.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. if only we were Vince.
Yeah.
If only we were Vince.
I don't know if I want to be.
Dude, I was watching SmackDown.
Uh-huh.
Vince's eyes are so far in the back of his head. It looks like he's been just doing nothing but writing and working out until 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And then getting maybe an hour of sleep.
Yeah. He's looking a little
looking rough.
A little rough. Yeah.
But he has some of the finest tie selection.
Oh yeah.
That that money can buy.
Nice suits, that man.
Nice suits.
Sure.
For sure.
Probably pretty padded.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we're tangenting, of course, here, but
yeah. Sorry to distract.
No, absolutely no. I will share some breaking news. We have officially hit 100 followers on Twitter, so thank you guys for your support.
Thank you, everyone.
Please continue to listen and subscribe.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear back from you all and have feedback. And of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to write us at headlocktalk@gmail.com. Again, it's headlocktalk@gmail.com. We want to answer your questions and hear from you, the listener. But back to this match.
Yes.
So Okada had probably one of the finest runs in all of New Japan history. Faced all comers. I mean, I'll go over the list. Kenny Omega, Zack Sabre Jr., Tanahashi, Naito.
Even just those 4 right there are huge.
I mean, the big competitors. And
Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr. He's one that he was so close to getting to this tournament here, and you know what? Next year, I mean, I'm definitely thinking about expanding the brackets more, but to me, depending on what his next year looks like, I mean, dude, he's definitely still a viable candidate to make it to next year's Fantasy Warfare tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Okada had an awesome run. The man on the other side of the corner, Kota Ibushi, had also a very, very strong run. Teamed back up with Kenny Omega, won the never open weight title. Had put in some strong performances. Defended excellently against Kota Ibushi. He's signed officially, probably his first contract that he's ever signed. He's only been on really handshake agreements when he's worked in other places, particularly New Japan. And now he's going to get the absolute push of a lifetime, and he's probably in line to maybe being, if not the next IWGP Heavyweight Champion, then very, very soon he will become champion. A lot of people speculated that he was going to go to AEW, but he did sign pen to paper with New Japan, so he's there for the long term right now.
How long is that contract?
I believe 2 to 3 years, depending on what options that he has.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, New Japan needs stars, and who bigger than the Golden Star of New Japan?
Yeah.
I see this being a very, very good match. They've had one match before that I've seen where Okada came out on top, obviously, him being the dominant champion. He would have to contest with Okada's speed and ability, or Ibushi's speed and ability.
Right.
Which, I mean, Kota Ibushi is near suicidal when it comes to what he's willing to put himself and others through in order to get a victory.
Right.
I mean, it's really a toss up here. So tell me this, from the matches that you've seen with one or the other or both.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where would you see this going?
I mean, I personally would probably see Okada going away with this, just because with Okada he has a really, really cool style to his wrestling.
Yeah.
And very, very hard-hitting, very brutal.
He reminds me a lot of Randy Orton.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Very methodical and,
Methodical. He's a kind of a bit of a wrestling prodigy, if you will.
Yeah. No, I would definitely have to give it to Okada, specifically just because of what I've seen from him. He has a very, like, I'm going to do this no matter what kind of attitude and kind of wrestling style. And kind of just does whatever needs to be done. Just from what I've seen from him. So I would have to go with Okada.
Yeah, no, I 100% am on board with that. I think it would be very, very close between these two, just like it always has been in the past.
Yeah.
The storytelling by these guys is on point.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. And I think Ibushi is the same kind of case as Ospreay, and that Ibushi's 2019 and 2020 are going to be much bigger than his 2018 and 2019. So yeah, Okada. I'm on board with that. Jace.
I have no idea who either of those people are.
Fair enough.
I'll tell you what. We'll watch one of their matches after we stop the recording here. But just to kind of fill everybody in on where we are at now, with Okada moving on to the next round. We have some amazing matchups here for the quarters.
Oh man, this is gonna be way harder.
This is gonna be way harder, Steven. We've really outdone ourselves here. So in the quarters, we have Aleister Black facing Seth Rollins.
Oh man,
that's gonna be great. We have Tommaso Ciampa versus Kazuchika Okada.
Oh.
Here's my favorite, okay? Here's my favorite. Johnny Gargano versus Kenny Omega.
Oh, God.
Look, like, that's a dream match of dream matches for me, personally. And then, of course, rounding out the quarters, we have Ricochet and Daniel Bryan, which in and of itself would be another great match. So, Steven, we got a lot of homework to do. We gotta watch a lot of wrestling now. Steven looks like he's almost in pain.
I want all of them to win.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, sir. But there can only be one. So we leave you with that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Headlock Talk. Chase, it was wonderful having you on the show. Will we see you again next time?
Maybe next time, yeah.
Maybe next time.
This was pretty fun. Yeah, I like it.
Awesome.
Thanks for inviting me on here.
Yeah, of course.
Anytime, sir. Anytime. Yeah, well, Steven, you have anything you want to leave our listeners with?
This is going to be hard.
It's going to be very difficult. But you know what? If anybody can do it, it's Headlock Talk.
I think so. I
think so.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name's Tanner. To my left here, the one and only, Steven.
Hello.
Hello.
Or goodbye.
Goodbye. And of course, to my right here, the man of the hour, the man with the power, Chase.
Later.
Have a good night, guys. Follow us on Twitter. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on our iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher accounts. And also check us out on YouTube for our Knockout Series pages.
YouTube.com/Headlock Talk.
YouTube.com/Headlock Talk. So again, check us out. We hope to hear from you again soon. Take care, everybody.
Later, y'all.